Have you ever thought about this? Why in the Ring you get exactly 7 days? Not 6, not 8, exactly 7. Because this is not a curse, it's a mechanism. And that's where it gets weird. Most people remember the Ring as something simple. You watch a tape. You die in 7 days. Classic horror, but look closer. This curse has structure. You watch the tape. The phone rings immediately after. A voice confirms it. Then the countdown starts. That's not chaos, that's a process. And that's where it gets weird, because real curses in horror are unpredictable. They hit at random. They don't explain themselves. But this one does. It literally gives you instructions, almost like it wants you to understand the rule. So let's ask the obvious question. Why give you time at all? If the goal is to kill you, why wait 7 days? Why not instantly? Why not without warning? Because death is not the goal, continuation is, and that's where it gets weird. Think about how every victim reacts. They panic, they investigate, they try to solve it, but nothing they discover actually stops the process. Not the history, not the location, not even understanding Samara. And that breaks the logic of a normal horror story, because usually, once you understand the source, you can stop it. Here, you can't. Why? Because you're not supposed to stop it. You're supposed to pass it on. That's the only working solution in the entire movie. Show the tape to someone else, and suddenly everything clicks. This isn't a curse. It's a chain, a repeating loop, a system designed to survive, like a virus, but not biological, informational, and that changes everything. Because now you're not being hunted, you're being used. You're part of the mechanism. You watch, you carry it, and to survive, you make sure someone else watches too, and that's where it gets weird. Now let's look at the tape itself. It's not just scary, it's structured in a very specific way. Disconnected images. No clear narrative, symbols that don't fully make sense. A well, a ladder, a chair, a mirror, a fly, distorted faces. It feels random, but it's not. It's designed to stick in your head, to disturb you, to make you think about it after it ends, almost like it's optimized, to be remembered and shared. Ask yourself this: have you ever seen something online that made no sense, but you couldn't stop thinking about it? Something weird, unsettling, and the first thing you wanted to do was show it to someone else. That's exactly how the tape works, and that's where it gets weird. Because the tape behaves like content, not like a weapon. Content that spreads. Content that needs an audience. Now think about Rachel. She's not just a victim. She's an investigator. She digs into Samara's past, finds the well, releases her, and for a moment, it feels like she solved it, like the movie is over, but nothing changes. The system keeps going. Why? Because understanding the story was never the solution. That was just another distraction, and that's where it gets weird. Because the movie gives you a false ending. It lets you believe that empathy or closure will fix everything. But it doesn't, because this isn't about revenge. Samara isn't trying to get justice. She doesn't negotiate. She doesn't stop. She doesn't even change. She just continues. Like a signal, like something that was never meant to end. And if that's true, then Samara isn't the villain. She's the source. The source doesn't chase you. It just exists and spreads. Now let's talk about the 7 days again. Why specifically 7? Think about it. 7 days is enough time to panic, enough time to investigate, enough time to fail, but also just enough time to show someone else the tape. It's not random, it's optimized. And that's where it gets weird, because the system doesn't rush. It gives you just enough time to become part of it. Now here's the part most people don't like. The movie does the exact same thing to you. You watch The Ring. You remember the concept. the tape, the call, the 7 days, and what do people do after watching it? They tell someone else, hey, you should watch this movie. They describe the tape. They explain the rules. They spread the idea. And that's where it gets weird because the movie itself behaves like the tape. It stays in your head and makes you pass it on. So ask yourself honestly, did you just watch The Ring? Or did you participate in it? Because if you recommended it to someone, if you talked about it, if you shared it, then you followed the same rule as the characters and you didn't even notice. So no, this was never about a curse, it was about transmission, a system that keeps itself alive by turning every viewer into the next link in the chain. And the scariest part, it works. If you like videos like this, where we don't just watch movies but actually break them down, hit subscribe because there are a lot more films people completely misunderstood. And trust me, it only gets weirder.